Never Seen Before by Debbie Berrow. For Jack, July 13th, 1927 to August 15th, 2004. There's a place in my woods where I go to talk to the dead, my dearly departed, to ask questions and listen for answers. It's where I stood and prayed that this land would be my home. And later, when it was, I built an altar with stones and bones and broken bits of pottery. Over the years, it became my ancestor altar. It's not unusual to meet familiars on the trail there. Early one morning, when the light was soft and the air hadn't made up its mind yet, I met a rabbit in a circle of light. We held each other's gaze for longer than made sense. When I reached the altar, I sat and listened. There are only a few times I've heard a voice from my relatives. This was one of those times. In my ear, spoken loud and clear, I heard the words, "Never seen before." I opened my eyes. A bird, white with a sharp black mask, was watching me from a very near branch. It stayed until I dropped my gaze. It was true. I'd never seen this type of bird before in my woods, or anywhere in Oregon for that matter. I was so excited by the voice and the bird gift that I forgot my question. I had to find out who this bird was and what it came to tell me. With a quick search online, it didn't take long to learn that his name was Whiskey Jack, a Canada jay, a bird of northern forests, a messenger, a trickster, a shapeshifter between the worlds. My father was Canadian, and of course, his name was Jack. He came from a line of woodsmen, men who worked in the early Canadian forests and sawmills side by side with their fathers, turning giant western red cedar and Douglas fir into lumber. I heard a lot of tall tales from those days. When my father was dying, he told me his old man had once told him a joke so dry it took him 3 years to laugh. He regretted not crying when his father passed. In 2004, when his wife called to tell me he had slipped away, I witnessed the passing of his spirit in a clearing not far from my altar, near a tree where a rusted choker cable lay coiled, left behind by loggers in the 1970s. I had followed a trail of feathers to the spot. Flicker, owl, and wild turkey. It's where we said goodbye. In my search about the bird, it got even better when I found that in North American folklore, Whiskey Jack is believed to be the soul of a deceased woodsman. And when I read that they eat berries that grow in dense underbrush, I thawed some blueberries from my freezer and headed back out to make an offering. By now, the sun had risen above the tree line. It caught something low to the ground, a glimmering silver trail threading through moss and needles, leading directly back to the altar. "Dad?" I called out loud. I left the berries there and whispered, "Thank you for the gift of the bird messenger, for the voice, and for my ancestors who show me who I am." The next morning, eager to see the bird again, I returned with more berries. Maybe it would eat from my hand, maybe call me daughter. It had to be waiting, singing a beautiful song. But magic doesn't happen that way. When I arrived, there was a giant slug feasting on the pile, its skirted foot taking on the shape of each plump berry it was sitting on. The woods were silent. Nothing but a slug. I deflated a little, but was also amused. The joke wasn't lost on me. It was just the kind of trick my dad would play to bring me down a notch or two. But then the light shifted as it does through the trees, and it lit upon a rock where the slug had left a pattern in shimmering slime on the stones, looping and curling into the shape of a cursive question mark. I stepped closer, and that's when I saw it. Stuck to the slug's hump, near where a shoulder blade would be, a single white downy feather riding along with each slow glide. This is what I'd never seen before. From woodsman to spirit to bird to slug. My dad always said he didn't have all the answers. Sometimes you have to wait for one, and sometimes answers just keep shifting.